Justin Trudeau will be collecting 2 pensions for a total of $8.4 million. With the end of the tax holiday, the annual inflation rate jumps to 2.6%. British Columbia introduces legislation that will grant it vast and vague economic powers. Mark Carney's Liberals commit $35 million toward restoring energy infrastructure in the Ukraine. Our goal, as always, is to bring you news, culture, and politics from a distinctly Christian, conservative, and Canadian perspective. I'm Andrew DiBartolo. This is Liberty Dispatch News Brief.
This message is for all the salespeople in the audience. Selling is hard work, but the rewarding part is the relationships you build with your customers. The secret to success in sales is creating those relationships of trust everywhere you can. But too often we get buried in busy work and the day goes by without enough real connection with customers. I want you to take a look at Sales Nexus. Sales Nexus is built to help salespeople automate all the busy work and focus on customers that are ready for a relationship. Try Sales Nexus at salesnexus.com.
If you feel that big government and banks are too involved in your finances, Bitcoin's the solution for you. Bitcoin is the antithesis of central bank digital currencies. It's decentralized digital cash that puts you in full control of your money. With Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about government interference or banks censoring you in any way. As a freedom advocate, you know the importance of individual liberty and responsibility. Bitcoin is the ultimate expression of those values, enabling you to take control of your financial destiny and make transactions that align with your beliefs. So, whether you're an experienced Bitcoiner or just getting started, Bull Bitcoin is the perfect place to buy and sell Bitcoin. Don't wait any longer to take control of your money. Sign up today at mission.bullbitcoin.com/dispatch and don't hesitate to contact their human support for any assistance from the get-go. That's mission.bullbitcoin.com/dispatch. Former Prime Tyrant Justin Trudeau has spent the last 9 years faithfully dismantling Canada's economic growth and prosperity, unraveling our cultural cohesion, and setting any vestige of a Canadian Christian heritage on fire in a raging dumpster inferno. The price for such evil should be open and public shaming and exile into our northern Canadian frozen wastelands. However, our corrupted systems will reward Justin Trudeau with not one, but 2 pensions, totaling a whopping $8.4 million of our tax dollars. This is from the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Quote, Trudeau will collect 2 taxpayer-funded pensions in retirement. First, there's the MP pension. The payouts for Trudeau's MP pension will begin at $141,000 per year when he turns 55 years old. It will total an estimated $6.5 million should he live to the age of 90. Then there's the Prime Minister's pension. A Prime Minister who holds the office of Prime Minister for at least 4 years is entitled to receive a special retirement allowance in addition to their Members of Parliament pension benefit, according to the Government of Canada. The payouts for Trudeau's Prime Minister pension will begin at $73,000 per year when he turns 67 years old. It will total an estimated $1.9 million should he live to the age of 90. Add the $6.5 million MP pension to the $1.9 million Prime Minister's pension, and Trudeau will collect a total of about $8.4 million. The Prime Minister's current annual salary is $406,200. Close quote. Considering he almost certainly has a 7-figure salary waiting for him at some international globalist organization for a job well done in ruining Canada, that's a pretty penny for a failed drama teacher. Only in Canada. Speaking of Justin Trudeau, because of his wasteful spending, tax hikes, and printing money out of thin air, we've seen record levels of inflation in Canada, and we're in a period of stagflation with the worst economic growth and GDP per capita out of all the G20 nations. Thanks, Justin. This story is from the National Post. Quote, The annual rate of inflation accelerated sharply to 2.6% in February as the federal government's temporary tax break came to an end mid-month. This marks a sizable jump from the 1.9% increase seen in January, when Canadians saw GST and HST taken off a variety of household staples, common gifts, and restaurant bills for the entire month. February's figures are well ahead of the consensus among economists polled by Reuters, which called for 2.2% inflation in the month. StatsCan calculations show that, without the tax break in place for a half month, inflation would have come in at 3% in February. But StatsCan noticed the reintroduction of the sales tax mid-month meant dining out was contributing the most to the acceleration in the overall price index in February. The Consumer Price Index rose in every province last month, with Ontario and New Brunswick facing the fastest accelerations. Economists expect the trade war with the U.S. to drive prices higher in the months to come. Close quote. While the legacy media and the Liberal government want to blame Trump and his tariffs as the cause of Canada's economic woes, our woeful socialist spending has put us in this situation, and it doesn't look like any economic improvement is coming anytime soon. It's a new year, but we still face many of the same issues. The woke agenda is invading every corner of society. If you followed our show for any period of time, you know the big banks cared a little about your faith and values. Now's the time to invest with conviction. Rocklink Investment Partners is a Christian-owned firm helping Canadians build portfolios that align with their values and principles. They stand for transparency, accountability, and a conservative worldview, offering investment solutions tailored to your unique needs. Partner with Rocklink today and see how they can help you wisely manage your family's wealth. Give them a call at 905-631-5462 or email them at info@rocklink.com. Many of our elected officials are using the threat of tariffs from the United States as justification for counter tariffs, printing money, and potentially COVID-like power grabs in order to save us from impending doom. The British Columbia government is no different. This is from the Business Intelligence for BC. Quote, the BC NDP provincial government under Premier David Eby is targeting interprovincial trade barriers, government service contracts, and road tolls as possible responses to the ongoing tariff threats. At a press conference in Victoria, Eby said the Economic Stabilization, or Tariff Response Act, is needed to combat the unpredictable and chaotic threats of the administration of U.S. President Donald Trump. According to the bill, the legislation provides for the removal of barriers to the sale and use of goods and the supply of services in British Columbia in relation to goods and services from another province or territory in Canada. The bill states it also provides for directives in relation to the procurement of goods or services by the government and government procurement entities. And should the government choose one contractor over another for tariff-related reasons, the legislation indemnifies government from legal proceedings. Furthermore, the bill states government may make a regulation under the Act to address challenges or anticipated challenges to British Columbia arising from the actions of a foreign jurisdiction and to support interprovincial cooperation in reducing trade barriers within Canada. But the bill allows for all these decisions to be made outside of the legislature. Close quote. None of this should come as any surprise. Mark Carney has already stated that he would go as far as using emergency powers to deal with the tariff threat, and Jagmeet Singh has also said that they will use every tool at their disposal in order to deal with the threat of tariffs from the United States. You know how if you're in debt, rather than spending lots of money on things you don't need, you should try to spend less, deal with your debt? Well, if you're the Liberal government, you do the exact opposite. This is from Yahoo News. Quote, Canada contributed another 50 million Canadian dollars to the Ukraine Energy Support Fund, Ukraine's energy ministry, said on March 14th. Days prior, Ukraine received the first portion of a loan of $1.7 billion covered by frozen Russian assets from Canada, the Ukrainian Finance Ministry announced on March 13th. Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly said in a statement, as Russia continues its ruthless attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure, leaving millions without electricity, water, and heat, Canada is proud to continue the important work it is doing to help Ukraine repair its critical infrastructure. Canada's total contribution to the Ukraine Energy Support Fund is now over $41 million. Canada also declared a future contribution of $10 million to the fund. Part of the new contribution will go towards the healthcare sector to support critical social infrastructure through the development of solar energy to support operations. Close quote. If you haven't had the pleasure of waiting 10 hours in an emergency room lately, our healthcare system is collapsing due to our socialistic system, and climate cult policies are hurting our energy sector, but we should send money to the Ukraine to help their energy and their health establishment. That makes sense only if you're a statist, of course. Everything our elected officials are doing, at all levels, is only having detrimental effects. This is what happens when you abandon God's rules and design for money. Let the scriptures, not modern economics, guide how you handle your wealth. Well, there you have it, friends. You are all up to date. Make sure you reach out to our friends over at Rocklink Investment Partners to help them steward your wealth, and head over to mission.bullbitcoin.com/dispatch to take control of your finances today. Also, make sure you head over to ldcanada.substack.com, subscribe to our mailing list, become a paid subscriber, help support the show, and get full access to the full interviews that we release. You can also reach out to us at libertydispatch@pm.me with any questions, any comments, or concerns. Until next time, Galatians 5:1.